Okay, so today we're going to talk about something you probably think you know inside and out, frequent flyer programs. But I promise you, the real story behind how these programs actually make money is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood parts of modern business. Let's dive in.
All right, first up, a quick question for you. When you picture a huge airline, what do you think is their most valuable asset? Is it their thousands of employees, all their global routes, or, the multi-billion-dollar fleet of airplanes?
Well, surprise, it's not the planes. Not even close. In fact, for many airlines, their most valuable asset never even leaves the ground. It's the loyalty program itself. And a wild event a little while back proved just how valuable these things really are.
So get this, during the peak of the pandemic, when nobody was flying, American Airlines desperately needed cash. They managed to get a massive $10 billion loan, and the collateral they used to back it up? Not their aircraft. Nope, it was the future revenue from their A-Advantage frequent flyer program. That should tell you everything about how big this business really is.
So how on earth did a simple marketing trick become a financial powerhouse worth billions? Well, let's pull back the curtain and uncover the airline's billion-dollar secret.
When these programs kicked off back in the 80s, they were pretty straightforward. They were just a marketing expense. Airlines would give away some free flights to reward their best customers and, keep them from flying with the competition. But today, it's a completely different world. They have transformed into massive, high-margin profit centers, almost totally separate from the business of actually flying planes.
And here's the absolute key to understanding this whole thing. Airline miles aren't just points. You have to think of them as a privately controlled currency. The airline is basically its own central bank. It gets to print this currency, the miles, completely out of thin air. It decides how much they're worth when you want to spend them, and it can even make them disappear with expiration dates. They have total control.
So if airlines are just printing their own money, how does that become real money in their bank accounts? And how does it even get into circulation? Welcome to the miles-making machine.
This quote right here just nails it. The airline isn't just a player in this economy, it's the architect. It sets all the rules. And having that kind of absolute control is the secret sauce that makes this whole business so incredibly profitable.
So, who's the biggest customer buying up all this private currency? It's not you or me, the travelers. The single biggest buyers of airline miles are banks. And the scale here is just staggering. For major U.S. airlines, co-branded credit cards make up 50 to 60% of their ancillary revenue. Now, just think about that for a second. All the money they make from baggage fees, seat upgrades, Wi-Fi, and onboard snacks, all of it is completely dwarfed by the money they make just from selling miles to banks like Chase and American Express. And that leads us to a really fundamental question. If the airline is selling all these miles to the bank, and the bank is giving them to you, who is actually funding your so-called free flight? I can tell you right now, it's not the airline's generosity.
Okay, let's just trace the money here. It all starts the moment you swipe your card at a store. That store, whether it's a coffee shop or a supermarket, has to pay a hidden fee to the bank. It's called an interchange fee. The bank then takes a slice of that fee and uses it to buy billions and billions of miles from the airline at a wholesale price. And then finally, the airline drops a tiny little piece of that pie into your account as a reward. So the takeaway here is that your rewards aren't a gift from the airline. They're actually a rebate, and it's funded by the fees merchants pay every single time you use your card. And what that really means is that all of us are paying slightly higher prices on everything to cover these fees, which then fund the rewards for the people with the cards. But selling miles to banks? That's really just the beginning. The loyalty program is a total treasure trove of other ways to make money. Let's look at how this business goes even further. A lot of experts argue that the data these programs collect is actually the most valuable asset of all. I mean, think about it. The airlines know where you fly, what you buy with their credit card, who you travel with. Some, like Qantas, have even spun off entire companies just to analyze all this data and use it to create super targeted offers to get you to spend even more money. And then you've got this little term called breakage. It's a simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful. When you earn miles but you don't use them before they expire, the airline still gets to keep the money it got from the bank when it sold those miles in the first place. It's pure profit for them, earned from miles that just poof, vanish. Airlines are also getting creative. They're experimenting with new ideas like prepaid flight passes, where you buy a block of flights up front, and even flight subscriptions, kind of like a Netflix for flying. These create predictable recurring revenue,
which helps detach their income from the chaotic ups and downs of selling tickets one by one. And here's a real-world example from Alaska Airlines. You can pay a set monthly fee, starting as low as $49, for a guaranteed number of trips every year. This is great for the airline because it locks in the customer and gives them a steady flow of cash, regardless of whether you actually take all your flights.
When you put all this together, it brings us to a much bigger question. If this is the real business model, what does loyalty even mean in this whole system?
This chart, wow, this really says it all. For an airline like Qantas, the profit margin from its loyalty division is more than 5 times higher than the margin from actually flying planes. The loyalty program isn't just a part of the business. For many of these airlines, it is the business.
Just think about that for a moment. The rewards aren't really about your loyalty to the airline. They are a bribe from the credit card company to get you to use their payment network. Your spending is what makes the whole system so valuable to merchants. So in this system, you're not just the customer. In a way, you're also the product.
So the next time you earn a mile or redeem a reward, it's worth asking yourself, in this massive, multi-billion-dollar system of private currencies, data collection, and hidden fees, what is your loyalty really worth? And more importantly, to whom?